In this episode, we're building the Bespoke. We got 5 made-to-measure machines that'll blow your mind and tickle your soul. We've got futuristic fantasy.
I took a piece of paper, drew the car before, and this is what we got.
I always thought one day I'll build a car like that.
Nimble nightmare.
Adam's Family, Munster, Gothic. I want it to look like the inside of a coffee. Well, what do you think?
And sports cars that are spectacular.
It's unbelievable.
How can someone in a farmyard build a vehicle like this?
These creative customs prove that if you're driving something different, you're turning heads all day long, baby. If you're talking classic 60s sports cars, the Ferrari 250 GTO could well be the ultimate ride.
You need to view it like a piece of art, something that is incredible and unique.
Only 36 were made between 62 and 64, and now they sell for millions of bucks. However, this is not one of them. It's a carefully crafted replica like no other.
And I asked him, can you build a 250 GTO? And he looked at me as if to say, of course.
This is the handmade Ferrari 250 GTO.
And you think to yourself, how can this be? How can someone in a farmyard build a vehicle like this?
It took John Riefeld 20 years to save the money to commission the Ferrari of his dreams from extraordinary New Zealand car builder Rod Tempero.
He does all the research and he does all the homework. They're perfect. They're not 3/4 replicas. They're not 1.5 size. They're built per size and per shape so that they're as close as possible to the original cars.
It's a 1962 GTO Ferrari. Ferrari built this car because he went to the Geneva car show and saw the E-Type and thought that was going to be the next racing model to beat. And he did it, beat it on pretty much every occasion.
Building his cars, he loves it. You can tell by the quality of the work that comes out of here, and he won't let anything out that is not up to 100% perfection.
Cars run in Rod Tempero's blood. His granddad opened a garage back in 1946. Rod started out working with his dad, restoring and fixing classic cars over 40 years ago. The 250 GTO was the last in line of Ferrari's front-engine racing car. It won the World Championship 3 years in a row from 1962 to 1964. With his research done, Rod and his team constructed a wooden buck as a perfect template for the bodywork. From there, the whole build was done by hand.
Everything we do here is iron touch. There's not a lot of machining as such. It's an old-fashioned way of doing things. Things are changing quite quickly. You know, you've got 3D computer programs now that will technically do this stuff, but I think it loses a lot of its coolness by putting it through a machine.
I don't know about cool, man. This Ferrari is pure fire.
It's that Kiwi can-do attitude that he's got. Nothing's too hard, we'll just do it, we'll make it work. But he's not scared of working hard. I come past here on a Sunday and he's down in the shed. I come back here at 10 o'clock at night and the lights are on. I've never asked him when it's going to be ready. It'll be ready when it's ready. You don't interfere in the process of an artist. But for us, the fact it's taken us 4 years to get this stage is almost irrelevant. He could have done it quicker if we'd started bringing him up every week and saying, when's it finished, when's it finished? But that's not where we're at, and certainly not what I want Rod to feel under any pressure that we want this car finished in a hurry, because part of it is the process. The whole family's got involved in it. My son and his mates have come down in the holidays and done bits on it, and Rod's let them do it, which is so cool. So they feel like they've contributed to the car, and they'll go, well, I put that bolt in there, and I did this. And so it's part of the coolness of the whole car. If you just buy this out of a kit and you put it together yourself, then it doesn't have the appeal.
It may not have the romance of being made in Italy, but there's a lot of love in the way this car has come together.
If you haven't got a passion for it, I think this whole process is a bit wasted on you. And to see it happening in front of you or even being part of it is pretty incredible. I think it just shows you the skill of the man, really. He's an incredible person, and I think totally under-recognised. Now, we're going to look at this car and we're going to be able to say, well, I remember when he built that, and I remember when he was doing this, and I helped do this bit.
From a fab Ferrari to a sculpted Splinter. Most rides these days are built in a plant and are one of many. So if you want to build something truly unique, brother, you need an artist with a vision.
This is my masterpiece. I took a piece of paper, drew the car before, and this is what we got.
Unlike mass-market machines, this work is hand-built and handmade.
I could never stop. I was hooked to it. When I built this one, I didn't even know there was an art car. I just knew I wanted to build it.
This is Splinter.
People just love wood. Me too. It took a little over 5,000 hours. It's all made out of little bitty strips glued together and bent to the shape. Lots of glue, and I can only glue 2 pieces a day. Many pieces of wood, of course, broke. They couldn't take the bend, so I had to do another one. As you can see, the finished job was well done.
Naming this ride was painful, but not because of the thought process.
We had a big decision to make about how we're gonna name it. So I asked my kid, my youngest one came up with Splinter. And I had many, many splinters in my finger, so that's why we named it Splinter.
Before creating Splinter, Isaac had dabbled in making wooden art. But at the age of 50, he decided to create his first wooden car. Utilizing a vandalized Honda Accord as his base vehicle, he put in the long hours building the ride wooden strip by wooden strip. People think he used water or steam to bend the wood, but it was all done bone dry.
One of the most important things in the artwork that I do is the fun of building. It's not just the fun of driving it. Some people tell me that it's a lot of work. So no, it's a lot of love.
Isaac's sons have nothing but respect for their dad's crazy concept.
Some people say he's missing a screw, we say he's missing the whole engine.
There's definitely some genius that goes behind all of these. There's things, and I don't fully understand wood and all of its physical properties, but I know that those who do have seen these things and been like, how did you do that?
There's nothing Isaac loves more than showing off Splinter to the public in Houston.
When I drive this one, he's just thumbs up. Have people using their horns, and they scream and yell, and they just can't believe what they see. And some people ask me if this is a wood grain. I said, that's not a wood grain, that's a wood. Then they go, sure enough, it's wood.
I thought it was a little like an alien ship.
Yeah, I felt like we were in another world there for a minute.
The first question, how did you do it? And the second one is, what kind of engine do you have in it? I always tell people the engine is not important. The artwork is important. Just look at how it looks, how it feels.
They say if you do what you love, you never work a day in your life. And he's truly blessed to have found his passion, and we're just happy to be a part of it and to help him do that.
From a wacky wooden work of art to a fine-looking Ford. Bespoke rides require bespoke builders, perfectionists, craftsmen, put their heart and soul into their work to ensure the client's happiness.
When you build a car, you need to get inside the customer's head. Without realising just how far I got in there, I think we pretty much nailed it.
These aren't cars for the crowd.
It's the ultimate ride for the customer. It's not the ultimate ride for everybody.
These are one-offs with every detail styled to suit their owner.
You can't deny the quality, you can't deny it, it fits, it's all in flavoured.
This is Deliverance.
This is a Model A Ford, 1930s era. It is a custom car, although it's not the gender that people normally think of as custom car. All the stuff we normally take off of cars is on the car and exaggerated. It's very Addams Family, Munster, Gothic.
Paul was commissioned to create Deliverance by horror aficionado Harvey Clark, who had a clear vision of what he wanted.
He's taken the base idea of the car that he saw and fell in love with, and he kicked it out of the park. He's got a V8 engine, but it wasn't big enough, so he made it bigger. It wasn't fast enough, he made it supercharged. Everything on the car has gone up to the ultimate.
Harvey originally bought the car off of celebrated designer Mark Brazier Jones. Mark worked with Harvey and Paul in creating some of the key designs for Deliverance, like the spooky front grille and those skull door handles. Each piece had to add to Harvey's overall vision. The whole build took Paul and his team 3 years.
When the car came to us, she was pretty run down. It had a good flavour, but everything on the car was worn out. So we took the car under wing and found out it was pretty wrecked. We repaired the chassis for starters. Whilst doing the repair work, we upgraded. So we got better suspension, better brakes, better engine, better gearbox. We've made the car run and drive like a proper hot rod, but the look is completely different to what we'd normally do. The whole car is kind of Gothic flavoured. You'll see details everywhere, little bats on here, little cobwebs in here. Harvey decided he wanted really big lights in the front, all handmade in England. The reminiscent of early Rolls-Royce type headlamps. It's got independent front suspension, it's got Jaguar rear suspension. The engine's a Rover, it's brought out to 3.9 litre, it's supercharged. It runs sweet, it's got plenty of power, 5-speed manual behind it. It actually drives like a modern day car. The interior of the car, Harvey said, I want it to look like the inside of a coffin. Well, what do you think? We've got button derailleur on the seats. We've got skulls. We've got an eye and a gear lever. There's little tiny skulls all the way across the interior. Everything there is bespoke. It's all handmade. Imagine trying to stretch this material 2 directions at once and keep the line straight all the way down the roof. If you go underneath it, it says Deliverance. You can see it cast in at the back axle. The devil is in the detail.
Man, you wouldn't want to come across this bad boy on a dark night. This is one demon machine.
I do get very connected to the cars we build, probably too connected sometimes. It's almost hard to let them go, but I can't stop myself. You can't cut the quality at 3/4. You've got to give it 100%, whether you're going to make the money out of it or not.
Oh, you have killed it with this one.
Ordinary public people tend to love it. Proper hardcore hot rodders don't get it. A hardcore hot rodder would take off most of this stuff and concentrate on smoother, finer detailing. The car is personal to Harvey. Most people like it, some don't. That's life, isn't it? You can't please everybody all the time.
If you want a car that looks like it escaped from the Jetsons, you ain't gonna find it from your local dealership.
When I was a kid, I was always told that by the year 2000, this is what cars would look like, and they don't, so incredibly disappointing.
Only one solution, man. You gotta build it yourself.
I always thought one day I'll build a car like that, and the time came and I thought this is it, so I built the car.
This is Cosmotron.
The car took about 18 months to build. Some of that was full-time. Once the project started, I always like to keep it moving and never let it stand still. If you do just a little bit every day, it will always get done. First off, I went and bought a BMW Z3 around about 1998 with the 2.8 litre straight six, and I took every single body panel off it, so I was left with just the rolling chassis and floor pan. I then braced that with extra steel just to make sure it was stiff enough, so there'd be no flexing in the fiberglass body. And onto that, I bonded polystyrene and expanding foam. The design was pretty much drawn out before I started to build it. However, there were certain parts that I made and then sort of tinkered with when it was in its polystyrene sort of stage. A lot of the time, the design would be finalised by, I'd call my wife Kirsten and we'd stand there, and if it looked good, it stayed. If it didn't, it'd be chopped off. I'd just start again.
Cosmotron is Paul's second build. Its distinctive curves were formed by bending 10mm steel rod to fit Paul's vision. Once he had the look he wanted, Paul finished the car's body in fiberglass. Initially, Paul had problems convincing the authorities that the bubble-top dome was safe, but Cosmotron is now fully road legal.
We've got the 2.8 straight six, but modified, so it's running these 6 SU carbs. They're topped off with salt and pepper pots because they look like cool chrome bullets. Stainless steel manifold, all custom made. Moving round, we have the moon tank, the headlight bezels, which are all one-off and custom made, so is the front grille. On this side, this is a one-off rocker cover. And the interior, we've got the crazy gear shift. Got a one-off dashboard, one-off steering wheel. My wife actually had stitched all the interior. The rear grille here, during the 50s, people would modify cars with anything that was around, and this kind of grille became popular, using a drawer pull off of an old chest of drawers. Those drawer pulls are very hard to get now, so almost looking the same. These are actually lids off of a lot of tubes of moisturiser, and then cleaned up, and they're now on there. These are plastic, and they won't go rusty.
After taking the car to shows for a couple of years, Paul decided to sell Cosmotron to fellow car enthusiast Martin Smith.
I decided to buy the car because for years I wanted a different sort of car. What I like about the car so much is the way it looks, the space age look of it, the craziness of it, the actual bubble top, the colour, the whole way the car's built. The 60s crazy look is what I really go for. I've done about 800 miles in it and it's been brilliant. It's like being in a goldfish bowl, looking out on the world.
And wherever the car goes, the response is always the same.
People's reaction to the car, when you drive it down the road, everyone stops, everyone stares, everyone wants to take a picture. I think just general amazement.
From a cartoon Cosmotron to a childhood dream drive. To create your own car takes vision, skill, and determination, which is exactly what the owner of the next ride has in abundance, brother.
I will say it was a dream that I was having since I was a kid. I grew up in a family whereby there was no vehicle.
But that didn't prevent this visionary from dreaming.
I saw those American sports cars like Corvette. Then I said, one day, when I grow old, I want to build one, and nothing can stop me.
This is Mosus, the South African sports car.
I was 11 years old. I used to work with my brother. He is a mechanic by profession. He called me in most cases to assist him with the manpower when he's doing mechanical job on the vehicle. I used to read a lot of car magazines. What inspired me when I see the first 850 BMW, the Ferraris, the Corvette. So with those designs, I will say they are the ones who inspired me to draw something similar to those models.
Electrical engineer Mosus' first attempt to build a ride failed due to lack of funds. But second time around, with the financial support of his mother, he succeeded. It took him 3 years of hard work to build this ride. He's nicknamed the car Mosus, combining the first 3 letters of his first and middle names.
It was bent by hand. The body structure, shape, and everything, it was handmade. By God's grace, I've managed to complete my project. So I thank God for that. The front windscreen is from VW KD Baki. The door inside, it's a 20 by 20 round bar together with a 12 by 12 square tubing. The side mirrors, it's from the Ford Thunderbird. It's got an 18-inch wheel, of which front is 225 by 40 R18. It's a rear-wheel drive vehicle. At the back, it's got 255/35, so the rear wheel is bigger than the front. The tail lights are from Europe. It's an import from Skyline GTR. Exhaust system, it consists of 3 big silencers. I just bought piece, weld them together, design my own free flow system. The engine, it's a 2-liter engine from BMW 318 IS, a 98 model. The radiator is from the very same model. The interior, the seats are from 135 BMW. It's got the Kenwood sound system. Steering wheel is from the BMW F30. It's a 5-speed manual transmission.
Against all odds, from his wife to his friends, everyone recognized what Mosus has achieved.
When he's around, everyone just wants to make him stop so that he can see the car. His friend thinks the car is great. It's unbelievable for someone to make a car like this with his bare hands. I'm really proud of him. I know it's a dream come true for him to build this car. It's his passion.
But this self-built hero is not just doing it for his friends and family. He hopes to make the whole country proud.
In South Africa, we don't have a model manufacturer designed by South African. I'm not doing this thing for myself. It's for the country and for my people.
Bespoke is definitely where it's at, man. Who doesn't want a ride designed and built to suit your every need? We'll see you next time right here on Ultimate Rides.